This is the Political News Podcast. Hi, everybody. I'm Gloria Moraga with some political news. It is Friday, January 16th, 2026, and today, Democratic members of the United States House of Representatives conducted shadow field hearings. Yep, they went to Minnesota to find out firsthand what the hell is going on with ICE. Why is ICE brutalizing, beating, dragging American citizens out of their cars and through the ground and dragging them off to jail, putting them in shackles, handcuffing them, beating them, and yes, in some cases, killing them? There have been more than one, a number of deaths while in ICE custody.
My name is Mubashir Khalif Hussain. I am a 20-year-old U.S. citizen. My family is Somali, and when I was 6 or 7 years old, my family arrived in the United States as refugees from Ethiopia. 8 months after arriving in the United States, we moved to Minnesota. I became a naturalized citizen in 2019 along with my parents and my siblings. But my citizenship did not protect me from being physically detained and hurt by ICE agents. On December 10, 2025, I was at work in the Cedar Riverside neighborhood. Around 1 p.m., I heard a commotion and what sounded like whistles and car horns. When I looked out the window, I saw what I assumed were ICE agents on the street. I did not want to be confronted by ICE, so I waited 20 or 30 minutes until the sounds died down before taking my lunch break. As I exited the building, I paused to speak with someone on the street about what had happened earlier. That was when I noticed an unmarked 10 SUV approaching us. A man wearing a ski mask and a police-style vest exited the vehicle and quickly walked towards me. The man did not say stop or identify himself. I turned to walk away, hoping he would leave me alone. The man quickened his pace, grabbed me forcefully, and pushed me into a restaurant and asked, "Why are you running from me?" I was not running. I was just walking away because I did not want to talk to him. I knew that ICE agents had been targeting people that looked like me. I immediately started repeating over and over again, "I'm a citizen, I'm a citizen, I'm a citizen." But the agent did not stop to look at my ID.
This is Patty O'Keefe. I'm sure that you've heard about her the last couple of days. She's one of the protesters who showed up with her Latino friend, and she was arrested. Here's how it went down.
This past Sunday, January 11th, my friend Brandon Seguenza and I responded to reports of 2 ICE vehicles cornering and pepper spraying the car of an observer in my neighborhood. We are both U.S. citizens. We decided to go there because we'd heard that the more eyes on ICE agents, the less likely they are to escalate to violence. When we got there, the ICE agents were getting back into their 2 vehicles. They turned down a side street and we followed them for about 40 seconds, blowing our whistles and honking our horns, the few ways we've been able to successfully warn people that ICE is in the neighborhood. Halfway down the block, ICE stopped, got out, and surrounded the vehicle, yelling at us to stop following them. On their way back to their vehicles, one of the agents turned around and decided to come back and pepper spray into the vents near my front windshield, which immediately started burning our eyes and throats. When we didn't turn around, they came back again and without asking us to get out of the car, smashed both of the front windows, dragged us out, and arrested us. We were released without charges 9 hours later. Brandon and I were transported separately. I was put in a car with 3 agents and no other civilians. As soon as the agents got into the car and shut the doors, they immediately started taunting and mocking me. One agent took a photo of me on a cell phone and showed it to the other 2, laughing. Another made demeaning comments about my appearance. About 2 minutes into the ride, one agent said, quote, "You guys gotta stop obstructing us. That's why this lesbian bitch is dead." Speaking of Renee Good, which filled me with rage and sadness. How could you say that? And then I remembered that cruelty and humiliation were probably the point.
So the hearings are called shadow hearings because only Democrats attended, about 30 Democrats showing up to the field hearings. Democrats from all across the country. But no Republicans were there. And it's called shadow because Republicans are in charge. They did not conduct the hearings. They did not attend the hearings. So you may want to ask your congressman or woman, if they're Republican, why the hell they're not showing up to get some more information on what is happening in the United States with ICE. Why are American citizens being brutalized? Why is there no due process? Why is this occurring? Congress controls the power of the purse. Why is Congress just giving up its power to let one man and one administration do this to American citizens?
But I did not think that this would happen to me, someone in my family. We are all United States citizens, so we should not be at risk of being jailed or deported by ICE. In the neighborhood which I work, I hear screaming all the time. Coming from encounters with federal immigration agents, I also hear whistles and honking all the time. When I hear these things, my heart starts beating really fast and I can't breathe. It brings me back to what I went through, and it almost feels like it's happening to me again. It is terrifying right now, wherever I go. I am here today because what happened to me is wrong. The targeting, harassing, violence, and detention of Somali American is wrong. And I am worried for the safety of me, my family, and my neighbors and community. If Congress does not act, we will continue to be harmed simply for living in the United States of America.
When I was inside my cell, I heard wailing, screaming, crying, begging, and pleading from women, men, and children. Alongside that visceral anguish was the small talk, banter, and laughter from the federal agents outside our cells, clearly desensitized to the deep and audible pain right in front of their eyes. It's worth mentioning that 2 other people in my cell with me that day were Marine Corps veterans, brave women who said they had gotten arrested for the same reason they wanted to join the Marines, to protect their fellow countrymen. One of them had cuts, scrapes, a swollen wrist, and a twisted ankle from being brutally handled during her arrest. She said she couldn't believe that the first time a gun was turned on her was by her own government. I was made to feel scared and humiliated throughout the arrest process. At the detention center, I was made to feel intimidated and as though my constitutional rights and biological needs didn't matter. After all that, I was released without charges, which makes it clear to me that this is more of a campaign to spread fear and terror than it is to enforce the law. The people of Minneapolis are collateral damage to the Trump administration's political theater, a campaign to paint black and brown people and liberals as villains, to distract from an unprecedented reign of corruption and criminality at the executive level, while at the same time making it clear to all of us, even U.S. citizens, that this administration does not and will not honor the basic constitutional rights to which we are all entitled. I've never felt more afraid in my 14 years of living in this city than I have this past month, with ICE running rampant and killing one of my neighbors. I ask for you to do everything in your power to stop this campaign of terror so we can return to a sense of safety and normalcy. I'm lucky to be back at home with my loved ones and that I can return to my job and my community. Renee Good's family never gets to see her again. The 100 or so people I saw in that facility don't get to come home, and that is unconscionable.
My community, we are health workers, drivers, teachers, laborers, entrepreneurs, engineers, public servants. In fact, at the lowest number that ICE knows, 95% of our community are either lawful residents or U.S. citizens. In fact, 51% of our population are born here. Somali Americans do not belong here because of our economic productivity. We belong here because we are Americans.
You know, Congress has not finished its budget work. And they were supposed to work on the budget today, and the Senate left early. The Senate went on a 1-week break. So there is a January 30th deadline, 2 weeks from today, to pass a spending bill. And in that bill, there are funds for the Department of Homeland Security.
This is happening across the country and not just in Minnesota. The First Amendment demands better. Those were the words of a federal district court judge in Southern California. And while we fight for our rights in court, we also need help from members of Congress. The president was able to secure $170 billion in funding from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, and that has enabled ICE to become what it is today, a dangerous agency acting without impunity. As they abuse our communities, they continue to ask for more funding, and we need you to act. We need you to use the power of the purse to demand an end to the Trump administration's unprecedented, lawless, and dangerous escalation in our community. And we urge that you demand federal forces to withdraw from Minnesota before another life is taken. Thank you.
All right, everybody wrings their hands and goes on about, what can I do? What can I do? There's nothing I can do. All right, here's something you can do. Here's something concrete you can do. You call your congressman, Democrat or Republican, and you tell them you don't want to fund the Department of Homeland Security, that you want to cut off funds until these people get a grip. I'm not saying, oh, we don't need them ever again. I'm saying you withhold funding until they stop this, until they stop terrorizing American citizens. They stop terrorizing legal immigrants. So this is important. Mark it down. I'll be posting every day and reminding everybody about this. But it is important to let your Congress members know that you do not approve of funding the Department of Homeland Security. You do not approve of funding ICE when they're doing all of these horrible things to American citizens. And that's what you can do. So I'm Gloria Moraga. Thanks for being here. Please subscribe. Please follow me here and there and not everywhere. And what's going on with ICE is just one tiny part of what Trump is doing to break this country, to destroy this country, to create the kind of country that none of us that are sane want to live in. So, Gloria Moraga, I am a political woman, but this is political news. Yes, there's some rebranding going on. I don't know. Somebody recommended that I do this, so I'm doing it. We'll see how it goes. So, follow me, subscribe, and be safe. And you know what? I've always said be safe. It was something that I used to say when I was a managing editor at ABC Sacramento, and crews would leave, and I would just say, be safe, because there's stuff out there going on. Now, it's more important than ever. Be safe. Please subscribe.